The one lowest on the board is control. Force, fear, and threats. Is a gun and a knife pretty persuasive? Al Capone, the great gangster, I don't say great, the gangster, said, you can get pretty far with a nice word, but you get much farther with a nice word and a gun. And a lot of people do that, don't they? They have this force, this fear, this manipulation. And we'll be, people take advantage of it a few times, but long term it makes a huge difference. So let's go through the different examples in a scenario. Let's say you're vice president of a company, and the promotion's in the air. You feel the promotion, everyone's talking about it, you're next in line to be president because the president's going to go on to another division of the company, and you're excited. You've been there for a while, and then the president calls you and says, you know what, we heard some great things about you, you might be in line for the promotion, I have one task for you. There's a new charity in town that we've decided that we're going to be working with, and we need to raise $25,000 for this charity. I want you to raise it, you have 2 weeks, don't talk to me about it, I don't care how you do it, raise $25,000. Wow. So you do the math, and that's about $250 per employee. How are you going to do it? How are you going to figure it out? How are you going to talk to them? You could use control and coercion. You could meet them out in the parking lot with a baseball bat. You could say, I know where you live, and there's been a lot of fires in your neighborhood lately, hasn't there? It would work in the short term, but that's not where we want to be. But people do focus on that. That's what some people do. That's all they know. It's easy, and it works in the short term. The next one is coercion, where you have that pressure, that manipulation, that intimidation. Coercion, we see that all the time. People doing things, forcing their way, just kind of working the system. So you're trying to figure out how to do, you say, well, coercion, you could sit down with the employees and say, look, if you do not donate $250 to this charity, I will give you a bad job evaluation. You probably won't get a raise, and you'll probably lose your job. Would that work? It would for the short term. Next would be command, authority, title, position. Do it or you're fired. I'm the boss, you're going to do it. You're using your authority in that position. Then there's compliance. Incentives, benefits, rewards. See, we talked about rewards, didn't we? Look, need $250, it's a great charity, you donate, I'll give you an extra 2 weeks paid vacation next year. Would you do that? Does that sound pretty good? That's worth $250. But once you've rewarded them for it and you need $250 again the next year, guess what they're going to want? They're going to want that vacation. Going up the ladder again is compromise. Negotiation, barter, mediation, where they know that you're giving away vacations and they know that you're in a rock and a hard place. You go back and forth, well, I'll take the vacation, but there's this proposal that I need you to okay. And he says, well, I'll okay the proposal, but I'll only give you 1 week vacation. And you go back and forth, and it's negotiate and meeting somewhere in the middle. Then there's cooperation, where you convince, you encourage, you basically sell. You sit them down and say, look, this is a great charity. They do great things in the community. 95% of it goes to the people. It's important to give back to the community. It's important to give back. It's important to tithe, whatever it is that you convince them to do that. The next is commitment, where we already developed, you've been there for a while, you have respect, you have that honor, that trust, where they've worked with you and they know that you would never ask something that they shouldn't do. They always know that you're on their side. They always know that you're looking out for them, and there's that trust. And then they say, I need you to donate to the charity, and they say, who do I make the check out to? You've developed that over time. And then top of the list, which can be learned, is charisma, where they're empowered, there's allegiance, so they say, hey, we believe in you and in this, what you're doing. Don't worry about it. We'll do it for you. That's charisma. That's empowerment. That's allegiance. So you take a look at what I call the hierarchy of persuasion. Where do you fit? Where are you working from? Top, middle, bottom? And so our goal, of course, is to kind of go up this ladder to get you to at least the top 3. Top 4, compliance works at times, but you have to use that sparingly. So we call the hierarchy of persuasion. So obstacles we see to persuasion. First is what we call the woebegone effect. Social psychologists have identified this, that most people feel they're above average. Everyone's above average. Everyone's doing better than the average person. Everyone's making more money than the average person. Everyone's doing better than they actually think. And we see this with the income. You know, when you have to check, do you make 25 to 45 a year, 55 to 65 a year? Most people lie about 2 up. And so the challenge with obstacles of persuasion is many people think they're doing okay and they aren't. Because we'll monitor persuasive situations. And we'll watch the persuader and we'll watch the persuadee. They're going back and forth. And we'll talk to the person doing the persuading. Well, how did you do? Well, great. Did they trust you? Well, yeah, they trusted me. Yeah, great. And they're thinking about it, right? You've heard that. They're thinking about it, so they'll probably do it. Then they go to the person that they were trying to persuade, and we say, did you trust them? And what do they say? No, not on your life. There's no way I'm doing business with that person. I'm like, wow, where's that disconnect? So it's important to be open as you go in the world of persuasion to video, to audio tape yourself, to find someone that's good in your field and be open for criticism, because many times what we think and what's happening is the exact opposite. The next is the lack of knowledge, the lack of tools. It's important to be professional in your industries, to be professional in career, to turn your radio off, turn your car into a university on wheels, learn the skills, learn the knowledge. And every time you go through a persuasive situation, you're asking yourself, what did I do well? And what could I do better? What did I do well? Could I do better? You're analyzing, you're improving, you're growing. You're treating yourself like a do-it-yourself project. Personal development is so important in any skill. And I learned this early on, that personal development is critical. In fact, 95% of all homes with over $250,000, they have a library inside them. Tapes, CDs, they're reading the books, they're doing some different things. Because here's the thing, 2 reasons. A Harvard study shows that those who are learning and growing every day, they're more optimistic about life, about where they're going, what they're going to accomplish. But those who aren't learning and growing every day become negative, pessimistic, doubtful about themselves in the future. Right? You've met those people. It's critical. And number 2 is every problem, every challenge, every obstacle you're going to face in life, someone's already faced it, overcome it, and has written a book or a seminar about it. Is that true? So you could have that poverty mindset and say, oh, I'll figure it out on my own, and take 3 or 4 months and cost you thousands of dollars. Or you go to the source and learn it in a couple days. That's the difference. See, the poverty mindset, oh, I'll figure it out on my own, and you get stuck in the blame game. Now, it's okay to be broke, because you know that's a temporary thing. In fact, it's been said you're all millionaires, you just haven't cashed your check yet. And so that's what you want to focus on when you look at your personal development program. Treat yourself like a do-it-yourself project. And then, of course, the fear of rejection. They might say no. Are they going to say no? You've heard it in sales time and time again. What is it? Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? But when the rejection, turn it into a learning experience. Talk to them, especially if someone is rejecting you but not going away. You can keep talking to them, keep trying them, try some different things. There will be some rejection. That's why when you look at persuasion, when you look at sales, it's one of the highest paid professions out there. Now, it's also the lowest paid profession out there. It just depends where you sit. And that's the thing. You decide on your personal development program. You get to decide what your income is going to be. There's very few jobs out there like that. You get to decide. And this says, you see if this has happened to you. No, Thursday's out. How about never? Is never good for you? You ever had that happen to you? People resisting you at all angles. And later this afternoon, we're going to talk about the 4 R's of resistance. When people are resisting you, resisting your message, and when they're not purchasing, there's one of 4 reasons why they're not purchasing from you, and you need to be able to identify those. Because closing complaints. Again, as you felt, there's a time and place for closing, but for the most part, it's not something you need to focus on. You need to open people up. People say it's the transparent ploys. And you've seen this before at an audio video store, a furniture store, car, like, I can't believe you used that on me. I was buying a car, and I said, you're kidding, right? That went out 20 years ago, and they kind of turned red. It doesn't work anymore.